Dingo Cannon, and this is Standing Ground. I just had to come on here today, and I want to make comment and analyze the infamous slap that was heard around the world. And no, I'm not talking about WrestleMania that happened last week. I'm talking about the 94th Annual Academy Awards and what went down between Will Smith and Chris Rock. Now, I know, a lot of people have made videos, and you're probably saying, hey, Dingo, Johnny come late to the scene, but I believe what I have here, as always, a world exclusive right here on Standing Ground, that what we saw, what took place at the Academy Awards actually had nothing to do with Chris Rock, but it goes back to ancient Babylonian times and a humiliation ceremony. We're going to go back to the Bible. We're going to go back to King Nebuchadnezzar. You're going to see here, we're going to unload with my Hollywood insiders what really went down. With that being said, let's hit the intro, and then we're going to dive deep into the slapping, the humiliation of a king. King Richard, King Big Willie Styles. Let's go. All right, now welcome back. Now this goes back a long, long way. It goes back to Babylonian times and biblical times with the King Nebuchadnezzar. This is a humiliation ritual, and it was done to the king, and famously King Nebuchadnezzar. And they would bring him out and they would strike the cheek of the king, and it had to bring him to tears. Now, with all these Illuminati ceremonies, all these things are done in reverse and reverse talk. And you see a lot of things with albums, with the Beatles, all this music. If you play the album backwards, it's in reverse, and they have signs. The news stories you see on the TV, they're all in reverse. And it's to confuse the people. Reverse speak, reverse tongue. So I believe that this is what we're seeing here in this ceremony. And it was a public humiliation ceremony reserved for the king. Now, coincidentally, Will Smith was up for an Oscar in his movie called, you got it, King Richard. Now, that can't be a coincidence that this ceremony is reserved for a king, and his first nomination for an Oscar that he won, he's been nominated for many, but that he's about to win, and it's called King Richard. Now, we also know that the progression from a king is a prince, and we see Will Smith climbing up the ranks when he was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I don't think it's any coincidence that we've seen him from the prince to a king. Now, my insiders are telling me that Will Smith was often referred to as the King of Hollywood, and he was also referred to as the devil. It's something we're going to get into a little bit later on, and he actually did play the devil in a movie. I forget the name of the movie, but let me think, what was that name of the movie? Winter in New York. And it was with Russell Crowe, who played the devil's servant, and Will Smith wasn't even advertised in that movie, but played the devil. But we'll get back to that later. So this is heavy. We're going to go really, really, really deep. So in the Bible, King Nebuchadnezzar willingly submitted his crown and his scepter. And his scepter, I believe, is the Oscar that Will Smith won. Now, that can't be a coincidence. So why, you ask? Why would he do this? So the purpose of this was to remind the king from the powers that put him in there that they control him, and that he really is only in power, and he is only a mere mortal. Without his crown, without his scepter, he doesn't have that power. And it's the power that they give him. So I believe that they're trying to remind Will Smith that, listen, we're going to put you in this power, and we're going to give you all the riches in the world. You have the fame, you have the fortune, you have whatever you want. But just remember, we still control you. And I believe that's what we saw here. Now, before this ritual, what the high priest did is they would sacrifice a ram, and they would decapitate the ram's head just before the ceremony of the humiliation of the king. Now, Coincidentally, but I think not, the Oscars were held on March 28. The zodiac sign of March 28 is the Ram. Now this blows my mind. Are you following me? This is absolutely deep. The zodiac sign for March 28 is Aries. Aries being the ram, and it also connected to Mars, the god of war. And what are we seeing now? We're seeing a war in the Ukraine and Russia. Make no mistake about it. This is not a coincidence. Right here we have everything of a ritual, a public ritual right on display. Now, if you notice, it wasn't Chris Rock that was humiliated. It was actually Will Smith. And actually online on the news, it was Will Smith's fellow actors and comedians that absolutely buried him and humiliated him for his actions. So during the ceremony, when they brought King Nebuchadnezzar out and they slapped him, he had to be brought to tears. And if he wasn't brought to tears, the god Bay would be very angry, and it would mean that their kingdom would be wiped out by their enemies. And that's exactly what we got. We got the humiliation of Will Smith, and then when he went up and he accepted the Oscar, that being the scepter, that being the king, he got his crown back, and he was moved to tears. And he didn't even apologize to Chris Rock, because the ceremony was complete. Chris Rock had done his part in this ancient Babylonian ceremony. Will Smith fulfilled the prophecy. Tears flooded out of him. He got his crown back. He got his scepter. He returned to be king. And now, what we're going to see now would be even more interesting from here. What Will Smith does from now, how he recovers from this. But all this, they don't even care. It was a humiliation ceremony for the king in public for the world to witness. Make no mistake about it. That's exactly what it was. Now I'm going to keep on investigating this, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens from this, but I believe that that's what we've just witnessed here. I'm Dingo Cannon, and this is Standing Ground. Thank you so much for joining us. Please help us if you haven't already. Like and subscribe at the bottom. We're back now. We're going to continue to research. We're going to investigate the weird, the occult, the Illuminati, all right here. And just remember, the future is an idea. Imagine it.